Good Morning America. The search for Nancy Guthrie hits the 2-week mark. Authorities armed with a warrant search a home, detain and release someone after a traffic stop, and tow away a car. The latest efforts by investigators in their search for this person, a masked figure at her door.
Severe storms taking aim at the southeast. The state's facing large hail, damaging winds, and possible tornadoes. Our weather team tracking this powerful storm system.
Global security. Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the Munich Security Conference offering Europe's leaders reassurance, but with a warning.
For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline.
More on his message, plus what came out of his meeting with President Zelensky.
New Epstein fallout. Hollywood heavyweight talent agent Casey Wasserman selling off his namesake firm following the release of his suggestive emails with longtime Epstein associate Glenn Maxwell. Soccer legend Abby Wambach and Grammy-winning singer Chappell Roan publicly ditching the agency.
Wendy slimmed down. The burger chain closing hundreds of restaurants, cost-conscious consumers cutting back. The company's new strategy to beef up sales.
College upset. Texas Tech knocking off the #1 team in the country, Arizona, in their best win of the season. NCAA highlights ahead, plus medal moments. Jordan Stoltz proves his need for speed, doubling down on gold. And Team USA sticking it on the slopes.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Sunday. Good Morning America. And it is a Good Morning America. Good to see you. Janae is off to Italy to cover those winter games, and Whit is away. But look who's here, Mary Bruce.
It is always so good to be with you, my friend.
It is great to see you, my friend. Good to see you here. We have a lot of news to get to on this Sunday morning, including the latest on the partial government shutdown, what that means for air travelers in just a moment here.
And also ahead, 4 astronauts have arrived safely aboard the International Space Station. They're replacing the 4 who returned home unexpectedly in January due to a health issue for one of them.
Glad they got there safely. But we are going to begin here with the search for Nancy Guthrie. We are now in week 3 as hundreds of deputies and FBI agents work urgently to find her. ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is in Tucson right now with the latest overnight. Aaron, good morning.
And good morning to you, Gio. It is now 2 full weeks since Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her home here. That's 2 full weeks Savannah Guthrie and her siblings have endured what they've called a nightmare. There was a burst of activity nearby over the weekend, but there has been no arrest and no sign of Nancy. This morning marks 2 weeks since police believe this masked, apparently armed man abducted Nancy Guthrie from her home in the dark of night. The sheriff said investigators were tracking leads when they descended on an affluent subdivision about 2 miles away from her home on Friday night. They blocked the street while a SWAT team, forensics investigators, and other law enforcement officials searched a home after obtaining a warrant. The sheriff's department said the warrant was based on a lead we received. In a nearby parking lot, other officers and agents detained someone after a traffic stop. They inspected and photographed a gray Range Rover, then towed it away. They questioned the person, but no arrests resulted from that incident. It's the second time someone was questioned in connection with the case and released.
Is that guy fully cleared?
Nobody's fully cleared.
After FBI agents with a height chart erected a tent at Nancy Guthrie's front door, the sheriff told us investigators would return to take additional measurements, trying to build out a more substantial profile of the suspect. They've estimated his height at 5'9" or 5'10", and now they'll work on his weight and shoe size. More information for investigators and the public to go on.
We're up to over 18,000 calls, leads. The FBI was somewhere around 14,000, 15,000.
As you say, some leads, there have been a lot of developments. Has there been any progress?
I think so, absolutely. You know, we got 400 cops out there working this case.
Those detectives recovered gloves during roadside searches within a few miles of Nancy Guthrie's home. The New York Post captured images of one of them. DNA was lifted from the gloves and is now being tested. DNA has also been discovered on Nancy Guthrie's property that did not belong to her or to those close to her.
Well, they already have the genetic markers of those that we think had access to the home, rightfully so, the family, the landscapers.
These 2 weeks, the twists and turns of the investigation, Gio, have fascinated the country, but they've deeply unsettled this community, troubled not only by the crime that occurred here, but the relative lack of new information of late. Gio?
Oh, and so many people across the country are just so worried for her and the Guthrie family. Aaron, thank you so much for your reporting there. We're going to turn now to the rough weather heading across the country. Severe storms with hail, damaging winds, even tornadoes possible. Meteorologist Greg Dutra from WLS joins us now. Greg, good morning. Look at that.
Yeah, and right on the heels, too, of 3 tornado reports through Louisiana. They're going to go investigate at least one of those during the course of today, as about an inch or more of rain fell out in Friendswood, Texas, that just off to the south and east of Houston. They need the rainfall in East Texas. They need the rainfall through Florida, although you don't want to take the severe weather. Look how far out in front of this cold front that squall line is. The good news, these aren't individual cells, so the chances of them producing tornadoes is lower, but still, damaging winds the main threat today. It'll be along the I-4 corridor near Orlando, closer to about 8 o'clock, but during the afternoon it's through the Panhandle and then up into portions of Georgia. Again, much needed rain up and down the eastern seaboard. On the northern edge, snowfall possible for New York City. That'll be late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Just what the doctor ordered right after all the snow so far this winter. The good news, that'll melt pretty quickly. Back to you, Mary.
I'm going to just ignore what you said about snow there, because I think we've had enough, Greg.
Yes,
thank you.
It'll melt, I promise.
Overseas now to the Global Security Conference taking center stage in Germany, where the war in Ukraine and nuclear talks with Iran are in focus. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang joins us from Washington with more. Good morning, Selena.
Yeah, good morning to you, Mary. Our European allies are still on edge, even after Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke at the Munich Security Conference. He offered reassurances, but with the clear warning, Europe needs to step up or the U.S. will go ahead on its own.
Thank you very much.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio trying to steady Europe's nerves, offering reassurance, but with a warning.
We are prepared, if necessary, to do this alone. It is our preference. And it is our hope to do this together with you.
Europe has been on edge after Trump's repeated threats to take over Greenland and multiple trade wars with allies. Rubio softening the tone, but the message was stark. The U.S. will move forward alone unless Europe strengthens its own defenses and aligns with American values.
We in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline.
He also warned open borders and mass migration could threaten European cohesion.
We opened our doors to an unprecedented wave of mass migration that threatens the cohesion of our societies, the continuity of our culture.
But European leaders remain cautious about relying on the U.S.
Europe must become more independent. There is no other choice.
This comes as the war in Ukraine enters its 5th year. President Zelensky meeting with Rubio and other U.S. officials in Munich, pushing back on peace talks that he says favor Russia.
The Americans often return to the topic of concessions. And too often those concessions are discussed in the context only of Ukraine, not Russia. Europe is practically not present at the table. It's a big mistake to my mind.
And guys, all of this comes as our allies are closely watching the president's next move when it comes to Iran. Trump says a second aircraft carrier is headed to the region, saying, Gio, it is going there in case the U.S. does not reach a nuclear deal with Iran.
And we will watch the happenings there in that region very, very closely. Selena Wang, thank you so much. Now to the latest partial government shutdown entering day 2 today. The Department of Homeland Security shut down as Democrats refuse to fund the agency unless Republicans agree to major changes to immigration operations. And TSA employees once again affected. ABC's Faith Abube has more on this. Faith, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Gio. About 61,000 TSA workers at more than 400 airports across this country are being impacted by the standoff in Congress. And already anxiety is bubbling about their paychecks if this drags on. This shutdown comes also uncomfortably close to spring break next month, which usually is one of the busiest stretches for air travel. Now, industry leaders are warning that some travelers could be forced to wait in long security lines if a significant number of TSA workers start calling out. Keep in mind, the last shutdown lasted for 43 days and led to severe staffing shortages for air traffic controllers and major disruptions and headaches for travelers. You'll remember those long lines, delayed flights and cancellations at some of the busiest airports across the country. This time around, those air traffic controllers are being spared, but not TSA workers. The acting administrator says some of them are just now recovering from the last shutdown about 12 weeks ago and, quote, we cannot put them through another such experience, it would be unconscionable. Industry leaders now urging Congress to act quickly to prevent another devastating impact. Mary.
Everyone hoping for a speedy resolution there, Faith. Thank you. And now to a major Hollywood figure facing fallout from the Epstein files. Talent agent Casey Wasserman selling his agency after his name and correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell surfaced in the Epstein files. ABC's Olivia Rubin has more. Olivia, good morning.
Mary, good morning. This is a major shakeup. Wasserman facing public pressure after high-profile celebrities, including singer Chappell Roan, fled his firm. Now the Hollywood heavyweight says that sell-off is already underway.
This morning, high-profile talent agent Casey Wasserman selling off his namesake firm following the release of the Epstein files and his suggestive emails with longtime Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. In a note to employees, Wasserman apologizing, writing he had become a distraction for his agency, which represents thousands of celebrities, artists, and athletes. Newly released documents include this email Wasserman wrote Maxwell in March 2003, saying, "I think of you all the time, so what do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit?" Maxwell writing in April, offering to give him a massage that can drive a man wild. Maxwell arrested years later in 2020, now serving a 20-year prison sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. In a statement, Wasserman saying, "I deeply regret my correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell, which took place over 2 decades ago, long before her horrific crimes came to light." Wasserman, however, will remain chairman of the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. And across the pond, scrutiny intensifying on former Prince Andrew. UK police now saying they are assessing the claims against Andrew for a possible investigation, including allegations of misconduct while in public office.
Now, Andrew has denied all wrongdoing in his relationship with Epstein, but now the king, according to a spokesperson, says he stands ready to support law enforcement if he is asked. Gio.
All right, a lot to watch there, Olivia. Thank you. Let's go ahead and bring in ABC's Martha Raddatz, who's going to have much more on the Epstein case on This Week later this morning. Martha, my friend, it is good to see you. The Epstein files, they are still upending careers. We just heard about talent agent Casey Wasserman, and we saw that explosive hearing in Washington with Attorney General Pam Bondi clashing with Congress. This is not an issue that is going away.
It is not going away because we learn more and more information all the time, Gio. We learned of the cabinet secretary, Mr. Lutwick, who years ago said he never wanted to see Jeffrey Epstein again. And these most recent documents show that he had actually gone to the island with his family. So every time you learn something more, this just hangs in there. And then, as you said, Gio, that explosive hearing on Capitol Hill with Pam Bondi, that also kept this story going, kept people interested in this. This is not going to go away for a long time, Gio.
It is not. Okay, let's turn to Iran, Martha, because the U.S. is sending another aircraft carrier to the Persian Gulf. Clearly, this is increasing pressure on Iran and a nuclear deal. What could this mean?
Well, with this second carrier there, look, you know President Trump means business. He did this in the Caribbean and Venezuela and going in and getting the president and his wife. So people get very nervous, and Iran has to be very nervous about that with the buildup. You've heard President Trump make these threats to Iran. If you don't make a deal, this will be very traumatic for you. So this is something we are all watching. But at this point, Joe, it is impossible to say what will happen. And those deals, those nuclear deals are so complicated, and President Trump does not want them to have any sort of nuclear weapons program. So this is something we're watching as well.
And I know you're going to follow every detail on that. But Martha, perhaps the biggest headline on this Sunday, it was your birthday yesterday, and for your birthday, you got a new grandson. We have a picture right here. Your son Jake, his wife Karen, gave birth to Gus. Oh, look how cute. You must be on cloud 9.
I am on cloud nine. I mean, what better Valentine's birthday present can you get? And he joins his big brother, Eric. So it was a very, very wonderful day for our family. Thanks for that, Gio.
Oh, so much love. Happy birthday, my friend, and congratulations. Thank you so much. And tune in to This Week Later. Martha speaks with Republican Representative Thomas Massie about the widening fallout over the Epstein files and his fiery exchange with Attorney General Pam Bondi. Plus, Martha's going to have the latest in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Mary?
Lots to look forward to this morning. And changing gears now to the latest move in the fast food wars. One of the country's biggest chains making plans to close hundreds of restaurants. ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with those details. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, good morning to you, Mary. Yes, Wendy says that it's closing hundreds of restaurants here in the U.S. as the burger giant flips its strategy. Let's talk about this. So the company says sales fell more than 10% last quarter, and now it expects to shut down between 5 and 6% of its U.S. locations by summer. Now, that is on top of the more than 240 stores that closed in 2024. So the company is calling this strategy Project Fresh, and a statement to ABC News saying, by closing consistently underperforming restaurants, we're enabling our franchise partners to increase focus on locations with the greatest potential for profitable growth. But when we look at the bigger picture here, especially in these fast food wars, price is now the main ingredient, with cost-conscious customers pulling back. Wendy says it's now shifting back to everyday value. The chain just launched the new Biggie Deals menu. I don't know if you've seen it, with $4, $6, and $8 options, and they're hoping to win back budget-conscious diners. Bottom line here, this isn't just about Wendy's. We're seeing this all across the industry. These chains are just realizing that, especially in this economy, consistent value, not just promotions, may be what keeps customers at the drive-thru, Gio.
That is absolutely right. All right. Thank you so much, Morgan. Now we're going to turn to the major moments overnight in the NCAA basketball action. And ABC's Andrew Dimbert is here with all of the details. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Some hearts were broken on Valentine's Day in college hoops, starting with the heavyweight showdown between number 5 Iowa State defeating number 9 Kansas Jayhawks, snapping Kansas's 8-game win streak. And now Iowa State has a real shot at one of those coveted top seeds. In the ACC, number 4 Duke, also jockeying for a 1 seed, handled business at Cameroon Indoor, defeating a ranked Clemson team at home. Freshman sensation Cam Boozer dropping 18-8 in this one, but the matchup of the weekend was out in the West. It was Arizona, stunned by Texas Tech. On the road, too, the Red Raiders notching their best win of the season and continue to climb up the rankings. Meanwhile, tempers were flaring. Take a look at this between St. John's and Providence. 6 players had to be ejected after a scrum that started with a hard foul. Then you can see St. John's coach Rick Pitino caught in the middle trying to hold back his players. The game stopped for nearly 20 minutes. And how's this for a heated moment? In the Oklahoma-Georgia game, a fire in a concession stand leading to a brief delay on the court. The fire was, of course, put out. The game went on. Thankfully, no one was hurt, guys.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Lots of drama out there.
A lot
this
of heated
weekend.
moments this weekend in college hoops.
Heated moments. Andrew, thank you.
We're going to turn now to the Winter Games and the victories for Team USA. And ABC's Marcus Moore has the highlights now and more for us. Good morning, Marcus. Oh, look at you in Milan.
Hey, Jill, buongiorno from Milan. We are full speed into the second week of the Winter Games, and an exciting day is ahead. There are 8 medaling events, so there could be some big results today, but it's already been a triumphant weekend for Team USA.
This morning, Team USA gaining more momentum in Milan with a back-and-forth thriller on the ice Saturday. The men's hockey team defeating Denmark in the second preliminary game, maintaining their winning streak. While 21-year-old speed skating phenom Jordan Stolz secured a second gold medal in these Winter Games, this time in the men's 500-meter race. Stolz setting a new Olympic record with a blistering time of 33.77 seconds.
To finally be able to win, 2 gold medals in front of my mom and my dad and my sister. I think they were really hoping for me to do well, and I'm glad I could do it.
On the slopes, Jalen Koff and Elizabeth Limley both getting their second medals from these games, storming through the snow in one of the game's newest events, dual moguls. And in another development, American Lindsey Vonn posting a new update saying she would soon be returning to the U.S. to continue her recovery after falling and fracturing her leg in the early days of these Winter Games.
All right, here's what we're looking for today. Michaela Schifrin back on the slopes for the giant slalom event. Nick Page in the dual moguls. And then Team USA snowboard team cross. And then, of course, Aaron Jackson in the women's 500-meter speed skating race. That, Gio, will certainly be one to watch. And as you know, the Winter Games, they never disappoint.
They don't, especially there in Italia, right? Just so
you're
beautiful.
You're getting in on it, too.
Oh, I sure am. I'm even learning
everywhere.
Italian. I am, just in case. All right, Marcus, thank you so much.
And still ahead here, the state of Nancy Guthrie's case. Our contributor and former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett joins us as this investigation enters week 3.
Plus, President's Day weekend sales that you don't want to miss.
And the young social media charmer who's bringing joy to millions of fans. Won't want to miss that.
Dr. Pepper. Oh, a strawberry Dr. Pepper.
Hey, 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 4 de julio fue el de July. Ando con mi prima borracha Rulay. Los míos en el Bronx, ¿sabes la que hay? Con la nota en high, por Washington hay. Willy Colón me dicen el...
I've watched this about 5 times. Welcome back to GMA.
We're still dancing.
Still dancing. Bad Bunny's halftime show at the Super Bowl 60. It is the best advertising his hometown could have asked for. Expedia reveals that flight searches to Puerto Rico spiked 245% in the few days following his performance. And the coastal town of Vega Baja, where the star was born, up a staggering 1,400%.
Wow, good for them. That's a nice ripple effect of that there. All right, now let's take a look at some of the other big stories that we are following this Sunday morning. 5 American allies issuing a joint statement saying Russia killed opposition leader Alexei Navalny with a rare deadly toxin from a dart frog. Navalny died in a Russian penal colony 2 years ago. His widow saying the statement proves what she has always known, that Vladimir Putin killed her husband. Russia has claimed Navalny died of natural causes.
Former President Barack Obama is speaking out a week after President Donald Trump's social media account posted a racist video depicting him and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes. In a podcast interview, Obama said that he thinks it's important to recognize that the majority of Americans find this behavior deeply troubling. The White House said an unidentified staffer posted it. President Trump has not publicly apologized for the post.
And the International Space Station is back at full strength. 4 new astronauts arrived there on Saturday, 1 day after launching from Cape Canaveral. They're, of course, replacing the 4 astronauts who left due to an unplanned medical evacuation last month, leaving just 3 crew members on board the ISS.
And we are going to start here this half hour with more on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie as the search for her enters week 3. Since Savannah Guthrie's mother was abducted from her home in the early morning hours of February 1st, hundreds of federal and local agents have been scouring the Arizona desert, chasing down potential leads. So let's go ahead and bring in ABC News contributor and former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett to talk about all of this. Brad, it is good to see you, but it's unbelievable that we are now entering week 3. So if you were to assess this investigation right now, 2 weeks in, what would you say? How would you say it's going?
Well, I can tell you, Gio, working a number of high-profile cases, is that you get dealt basically a hand of evidence, of witnesses, of cameras, of phones, and you do everything you can 24/7. But if it doesn't go together, it doesn't go together. And I don't think it's from the sake of not trying. I mean, they've used FBI special teams. They brought in tech teams. I'm sure they pulled down all the cell phones. They pulled down all the CCTV. They're listening to informants, if that would help at all in this case. And they're getting multiple thousands, I'm sure way over 20,000 leads, of which most won't be helpful, but maybe a handful will. So that's why 3 weeks later, we're having this conversation.
And Brad, we know they are combing through everything, following every tip, but what are the best leads we know of at this point?
Well, I'm not sure we know of the best leads, Mary. I mean, I'll give you an example that quickly. The car stop, detained, searched the car, then the house searched, same time period, a day or two ago. That's a typical tip you get. Somebody calls in and said, a guy that drives an XYZ car with this plate number looks exactly like the guy in the picture, so forth and so on. So you follow through. Not much else you can do. But it's those type of tips, Mary, that will get this case solved. That somebody eventually will come out and say, that's my neighbor, I work with that guy, whatever it might be. And they're just not there yet. It also maybe give you some indicators that assuming the guy at the door there is a video of is a lone player. If he's a lone player and a loner, it maybe make it more difficult as far as getting certain tips or cell phones or whatever it might be.
Brad, investigators say that some DNA collected from Nancy Guthrie's property belongs to someone other than her. What could that mean?
Well, it can mean something really great, like it's the DNA of maybe the guy that was at her front door. But, Gio, think about the number of people that have been in your residence, and we do a deep search of your residence and pull up all sorts of DNA. You may have had a plumber there 8 years ago who left his DNA. It would be important for me to know, where did they find the unknown person's DNA, and is it a logical place that this bad guy, I'm going to assume it's one person at this point at least, it could be his DNA. Of course, that doesn't help you unless his DNA is in a database someplace.
Yeah, of course. And let's go back to that horrifying video that we've now all seen, that masked figure that was caught on the doorbell camera. What do you take away from that footage when you look at it?
I find that footage just bizarre. He gives me a lot of information about sort of his demeanor, his slowness, his not sure what he's doing, the unbelievable amount of time, Mary, he spent at that front door. I mean, the average person would have gotten caught, called in on by the police, whatever it might be. So, and then going and pulling that branch up or vegetation of some sort and wagging it in front of the camera. So disorganized, slow. He gives you a lot of information about how he walks. The FBI have been able to come up with height and weight. I don't think there's not enough of his face to do any sort of to see if it matches anybody else's. But if you knew him based on how he's dressed, how he walks, how he moves, I think you'd be able to ID him and say, that's the guy down the street or my neighbor or whatever it might be. So I guess the baffling part is if, in fact, he did this alone, and if, in fact, he's a loner, he's been pretty good at shutting us down for 3 weeks. And, you know, the tragedy, obviously, is Nancy's poor health. And where is she and what state is she in?
Yeah, and we, again, are praying for Nancy's family in Savannah. And, of course, we have that tip line right there on your screen. If you have any information, please go ahead and call. Brad Garrett, thank you so much.
Now, with some of the hottest bargains in stores this holiday weekend, Morgan is back with more of those President's Day deals. All right, so let's break this down. What category should we be looking at? What should we be checking out to buy this weekend?
Yeah, you know, President's Day deals, those are kind of the deals that fly under the radar. It's actually the first big sales weekend of the year. And experts say an ideal time is actually now to buy mattresses, big furniture items, appliances, winter clothing. Take a look. This is the data that we found from Adobe Sales. Mattresses are expected to spike 100%. Bedroom furniture will jump about 70%. Small kitchen appliances looking about 55% spiking this weekend. Compared to the January average, shoppers may also be looking to bundle up with more clothes during what we all know has been a brutally cold winter for so much of the country. So apparel sales are looking pretty good, expected to head higher as well.
I refuse to buy more.
Oh, I've been out there buying all the coats, all the hats.
Yeah, we need all the
stock
coats.
up. It seems never
now,
ending.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk some of the specifics. What are the specific deals we're seeing in some of these categories?
Yeah, you know, if you're in the market for a mattress, many brands have dreamy sales going on. Take a look. Tempur-Pedic is offering up to $500 off select adjustable mattress sets. And then Mattress Firm has the Dream Cloud Classic Hybrid Mattress. It's really popular for $649, down a whopping 62% Gio from its $1,747 price tag. And also, if you're looking for appliances, Best Buy is offering up to 40% off select major appliances like the washer and dryers. And if you can clean up at Wayfair with deals like 72% off, this all-in-one corded vacuum cleaner is also looking pretty good. So
72%.
72%.
That's not.
Yeah, it makes you want to go spring clean, right?
No, maybe not that much. Okay, so we were just talking about how we're trying to update our wardrobe a little bit. Let's talk clothing.
Oh, that's my favorite thing to talk about. If you're looking for clothes, Lands' End has a sweetheart of a deal. They're offering half off site-wide this weekend. Gap has 40 to 60% off sweaters and sweats. Gio's excited about this. Okay, Mary, we got you at Macy's. Lots of coats on sale, including
now
Calvin
you're speaking
Klein.
my language.
Yes, women's puffer coat for $65, down 75% from $265.
Oh, awesome. All right, good
Happy
deals.
shopping.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Appreciate it. All right, coming up here on Good Morning America, the adorable little girl who's charming the world of social media. Stick around. Look at her. Stay with us.
Some Dr. Pepper. Oh, a strawberry Dr. Pepper.
And we are back now with the youngster racking up millions of likes on social media right now. Her positive energy, downright infectious. And ABC's Will Gans, Mr. Positivity himself, got a chance to speak with her. It's all about joy.
Oh my gosh, it definitely is. When we met on Zoom, Dory Hudson told me she's only met 4 Americans in her whole life. I was lucky number 5. And now all of you are next up to have the absolute joy of getting to know her in her very first American television appearance. So as Dory would say, are you ready, Freddie? Let's go, Ginny Joe.
Are you ready, Freddie? Let's go, Ginny Joe.
This Irish 9-year-old is on a mission to make the world a little bit kinder.
Tall brown arm, keep shining, sadness won't last forever.
Sharing life advice
Don't underestimate a woman.
and taste tests.
Taco Bell in Ireland will all be the judge of that.
And like her Pixar namesake,
when life gets you down, you know what you gotta do?
I don't want to know what you gotta do. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Dory is making waves online, racking up more than 17 million TikTok likes with comments pouring in like, God turned her charisma up to 100% when he made her, and you are raising a truly amazing human being.
Let those happy tears out.
Her mom Jess began sharing Dory stories with one simple goal.
Just knowing that it can make someone's day go from a bad day to a good day. It's just so precious.
Dory's got the gift of the gab,
I think that's me corn dog.
and she's not afraid to share it.
How is the weather over in your country? Because, well, us, it's actually not too bad now, but it was raining a few minutes ago.
We have had a very cold few weeks in New York. The Hudson River is frozen over.
Oh my goodness. You'll never guess what my surname is. Hudson. I'm actually screaming.
Dory and her mom reminding the rest of us that even in tumultuous times, it's the simple things that matter most.
Where does that joy come from? What is the key to staying so happy?
The key to staying so happy is laughing with me mom and having all the chaos with me mom, because when I'm in a good mood, she's in a good mood, and we're all just in a good mood, and we'd be laughing our heads off. Are you ready, Freddie? Let's go, Ginny Joe!
So Dory tells me she wants to be a pediatrician or a doctor for wild horses, wild specifically, when she grows up. And in case you're wondering who Ginny Joe is when they say, let's go, Ginny Joe, it's a dandelion. So you could say, let's go, Ginny Joe, before making a wish on a dandelion and blowing the seeds away.
You know, you're already a happy guy, but he was smiling in that interview.
Infectious is right. I mean, it's hard not to smile and have fun when you're
She's the best. Yeah, I just, you know, especially in times like these, I love when she pops up on my For You page. So
We can all use a little more positivity.
Exactly.
Great story.
Thanks,
Thank
Will.
you.
Now with our play of the day, and it's a real ice cream sundae here this week. A New Jersey man is showing he has good humor with an ice cream truck made almost entirely out of snow.
This is how much snow we've had.
I
thought
know.
that was ice cream for a second.
It has 4 wheels, reflectors, signs, but just about everything else is from packed accumulation from the big storm, which was now 3 weeks ago. The homeowner is selling actual ice cream from it. The proceeds going to a children's hospital foundation, and that is what we call a news scoop. That's right.
I'm glad he didn't use the dirty snow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for starting your day with us.
And of course, you can catch more weekend news coverage over on ABC News Live.
Oh, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.